do I give that person for a gift? It's impossible. What does a championship here mean to the legacy of someone that we all acknowledge already is the greatest player of all time? What would this game, if he wins it, Ryan, mean for Brady's legacy?
Oh, this is just more added to it. I think it adds an extra layer to his legacy because we talked about the Kobe Bryants and we talked about the Tim Duncan earlier, and we talked about the Derek Jeters, and their stories aren't layered, right? Their stories, it's one chapter. It's one chapter of greatness, whereas Tom Brady's story is layered, right? It's layered that he was a 6th-round pick, and you replace Drew Bledsoe, and you win early because of defense, and you just managing the game. And then you become a huge part of why you win and an MVP player. But you leave that team. You leave that team with that storied history, with all that connection, with all that chemistry, and you go somewhere else. You go somewhere else that never really won, and now you win. And you win big, and you win early. And they win in large part, even though not the last game or the championship, you win in large part because of who you are as a player, a leader, a person, a coach, a GM, an organization. And that's important. And so, though I don't think it means as much to Tom Brady as it means to us. I think to Tom Brady, it's winning another championship. To Tom Brady, it's doing what he's paid to do, doing what he loves to do. But for us, it puts him in a conversation that transcends football, which is very hard for football players to do because it's the ultimate team sport. But now, to me, he gets an opportunity to be talked about with the Tiger Woods and with the Serena Williams and with the Simone Biles and the Michael Phelps of all of these people who are these great individual athletes that have accomplished feats we've never heard of. I think Tom Brady will go down as one of the greatest athletes, period, regardless of sport, regardless of position. And that's what this Super Bowl means.
Nate?
Yeah, I think it matters because of who he's going up against. We already have decided that Patrick Mahomes is his only competition. It matters. If he has a big game, if he leads a game-winning drive and outduels Patrick Mahomes and throws a deep touchdown to Lil Scotty Miller, then we will remember him for this moment because that will be a great moment of him knocking off Patrick Mahomes. I'm just trying to help guys out. I think if we call him Lil Scotty in the scouting report,
Lil Scotty,
guys won't be as confused, or Scotty. Like you got to put something apostrophe Scotty, and then you'll know that
they gotta
man
have an apostrophe. Yeah.
Can I throw one other name into this that has not been mentioned yet that I think is an important one when we talk about Tom Brady's legacy and what this would mean? The name Bill Belichick, I think, comes into the conversation somewhere here as well. I mean, Dan Graziano, you are one whose job it is to chronicle this stuff. Brady and Belichick have always been attached at the hip legacy-wise. This, I think, would be very meaningful for Brady to win one without Belichick.
Look, it's clear. I mean, you're talking about greatest quarterback, greatest coach of all time. It's clear that the 2020 season advanced Tom Brady's legacy and that the 2021 season did not do the same to Bill Belichick. Doesn't detract from anything Belichick's done, but the point is he needs to rebuild the Patriots and return them to greatness in order to do the equivalent of what Brady was able to do in 1 year in Tampa Bay. So, yeah, that question's always going to be asked. If people were on the Brady side of it, oh, it's all Brady, not all Belichick, then this year helps their case. We'll see what Belichick's able to do in terms of building it back. But there's no question that what Brady's done this year burnishes a legacy that really didn't need to be.
You know, Nick, can I leave it here a minute? The producer, we have one other thing we were going to do, but I would like to follow up on that, Ryan Clark. If Brady, let's say it's a great game and he doesn't even win it, but the season that Brady has had, the accomplishment he had, going to a new team that hadn't been in the playoffs in 13 years and taking them to the Super Bowl, beating Breeze and Rodgers on the road in the playoffs along the way. Does that in any way change the dynamic in your mind of the Brady-Bill question that we have been asking for the last 2 decades?
I do. I think it changes the dynamic because of this. Bill Belichick has never had that success without Tom Brady, and at least for now, he's had 2 tries. He was the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, and then he went to New England and got Tom Brady and had this run, and now he's coaching without Tom Brady, and they're not even in the playoffs. And then you think about Tom Brady's legacy as you tell that story. You beat an all-time great in Drew Brees. You beat an all-time great and probably reigning MVP or MVP of the 2020 season, Aaron Rodgers, and then you get to the Super Bowl and you play Patrick Mahomes. I think what Dominique said is probably the best point. The gauntlet of quarterbacks he will have gone through in order to win a Super Bowl at this age with a new team in a new place is a gauntlet like no other. And we know that right now, he'll have an opportunity to beat the quarterback who we think is the best playing football and the quarterback who played the best this year. And to do that at 43 without the guru, without Bill Belichick, says more about Tom Brady than it does Bill Belichick. But then we have to start elevating him in the conversation of the Patriot dynasty and say that Tom Brady was a lot more important to that than even we may have given him credit for.
That's the point. I mean, is this, Dominique, the answer to the question, was it Brady or Bill? That has been a question. Is this the answer?
No, it's not the answer. I don't think this is the answer. I would love to. I want to participate in this hyperbole as much as you guys, but I watched all those years. Many of those years, Brady was riding on Belichick. So, like, I understand the story you're trying to make, and I agree it's fun, it's funny, it's interesting, and right now Brady is playing great. But no, Bill Belichick was just as much a part of those championship runs, if not more so a part of many of those defensive innovations he had to get them to that spot year in, year out. That roster management and also Brady's willingness to take less, frankly, that all had something to do with it. I don't think this changes that necessarily, but it does elevate how we think about him relative to other guys. One second. When we are doing Get Up in 2041 and we're comparing Mahomes' career to Brady's career, this game matters to that more than it matters to the Belichick thing to me. Go ahead.
Hey, Dom, did you watch Married with Children? I watched Married with Children. Married with Children was during the days that they actually had songs to bring on the TV sitcoms. And at the end, he said, "This I tell you, brother, you can't have one without the other." And that was about Al and Peg. But this is the thing. We are learning you can have one without the other. And the one we are learning that you can have without the other, at least this year, is Tom Brady. And before Greeny asked the question, or while he was asking the question, I said, I'm not going to answer it. I'm going to say that it doesn't matter. But I fell into it because it's true. And even Dan, with his being sarcastic and his great big condescending as he is, he even knows it's true. It's why he's on the show.
The difference is Tom Brady went into an excellent situation. Bill Belichick was trying to win with a hobbled Cam Newton. It's 1 year. Relax, everybody.
Tom Brady went into a situation where they hadn't been in the playoffs, Dominique, in 13 years. I don't think anyone was sitting there. I understand they were a good team, but that team, Dan Graziano, hadn't been in the playoffs in 13 years. They were under 500 last year.
I'm not
They were barely under 500 last year with the quarterback threw 30 interceptions. I mean, obviously it's a loaded roster. Brady's not going to the playoffs with this year's Patriots